Get over here!
For all the gaming fans, the live-action movie based on the Mortal Kombat games was the event of the century. I mean, where else are you going to see the God of Thunder training Earthlings to an outworldly battle? Okay, so maybe the movie didn't get great critic reviews, but the movie did manage a record-breaking opening. Breathing life into some of the most popular gaming characters at the time, Mortal Kombat brought in a good deal of gripping fight scenes. And what better time to kick in a bit of nostalgia than in light of a new Mortal Kombat movie being released. So here are the 10 best fights from the Mortal Kombat movies. First up, we have the one-on-one of Scorpion and Sub-Zero in Annihilation. In case you're confused here, the Sub-Zero that was killed by Liu Kang is actually the older brother of the guy who appears in Annihilation. After he died, the mantle was taken up by Kuai Liang, who is now in support of the Earth Realm. Now, if you're wondering about that gash over Sub-Zero's eye, it was given to him by Sonya's rival Kano. Sub-Zero is interrupted by Scorpion as he tries to ice-slide their way out, and a pretty gripping fight happens. Scorpion seems to have gotten a bit of an upgrade since his rope spear was modified into small snaky heads that shot out of his hand. This fight is actually a bit more than an attempt to kidnap Kitana. The first Sub-Zero, Bi-Han, was actually Scorpion's rival. After Kuai Liang took up the mantle, he also inherited this rivalry with Scorpion. That's probably why the fighting feels a bit personal. They've got 1,000 years and 2 lifetimes worth of scores to settle. Next up, we have the muddy, messy fight between Sonya and Mileena. Mileena happens to be the hybrid clone of Kitana, which is why Sonya is a little late in punching back. While she's trying to figure out why Kitana is trying to gut her, her surprise almost gets her killed since Mileena wastes no time in throwing Sonya around. As is usual with clones, Mileena's only similar to Kitana in appearance. Beyond that, she's far from the level-headed fighter Kitana is. Mileena is sadistic and somewhat unhinged, not to mention her crazy bloodlust. The other thing that comes out during the fight is that Mileena hates being compared to Kitana. Given the way she sneers at Sonya when she mistakes her for Kitana, it's obvious that she compares herself superior to Kitana. She does certainly top her off in terms of manic murder lust. Once Sonya realizes that this is certainly not Kitana, she wastes no time in beating her up and killing her. Her dragon tattoo manages to cause a bit of a fuss before eventually being beaten by Jax.
Let's dance.
Johnny Cage vs. Goro comes in next. Now, it's no secret that Johnny Cage adds some much-needed comic relief into Mortal Kombat. His fight with Goro is one of the best Johnny Cage scenes in the entire movie. As the undefeated champion of Mortal Kombat, it's no wonder Goro has a bloated ego. From his first appearance, it was obvious that Goro was a big-headed brute who was pretty much like Gaston, large, muscular, and as stupid as they come. And then, of course, there's Johnny, also egotistic and vain, but far cooler and sassier than Goro's hunky self could ever be. Despite his airheaded attitude, Johnny's actually a smart and strong warrior, and this scene shows that well. The best part is, come what may, Johnny never loses his sense of style. And what better way to tick off a man of style than to rip off his $500 glasses? Let's admit it, Goro had that kick coming. Johnny taking down the brute with a few well-aimed punches is, dare I say, one of the best scenes of the entire franchise.
Those were $500 sunglasses, asshole.
Then we have Smoke rudely barging in on Liu and Kitana's special moment. Initially sent to hunt Sub-Zero, Smoke was later reprogrammed to hunt down Kitana and Liu instead. Like Johann Kraus in Hellboy, Smoke's also a human soul contained in a cyborg shell. But that's as far as the similarities go. Smoke was a human who was tortured, and his soul is trapped and programmed through the Stormtrooper suit. Stealth and speed are his speciality since he is, after all, just a puff of smoke. But the puff of smoke proves a tough combatant. Liu gets the daylights kicked out of him by Smoke while Kitana takes down a handful of ninjas. He can also shoot missiles from his chest, which come in handy when Liu refuses to give up the fight. In an earlier script for the movie, Smoke was supposed to give Mileena a hand in killing Sonya. Given how well he beat up Liu, Smoke probably would have done better than Mileena did and would have actually killed Sonya, so it's a good thing they scrapped that. Sonya's former Special Forces partner Jax gets first-hand experience in defeating the Outworld forces when they come knocking in her headquarters. Cyrax opens the battle with a cheery "Death is the only way out," which also happens to be the name of the song that plays during the fight. This would have been a pretty ominous start if not for his awkward metallic voice.
Death is the only way out.
Thankfully though, Cyrax leaves the talking and charges at Jax and Sonya with all he's got. Well stocked with weapons in his chest cavity, Cyrax seems almost impossible to defeat until Sonya steps in to take him down. The scene also takes generous time in showing off Cyrax's excellent combat skills. For the most part of the fight, Jax's punches don't even land on him. Cyrax also got an upgrade from the games. The energy net that used to simply incapacitate his targets now has nano machines that can melt his targets inside out. Yep, it's not a pretty sight. He can also shoot small spike grenades from his chest. The final showdown between Shao Kahn and Liu Kang is one of the best scenes in Annihilation, although most gamers would agree that the movie Shao Kahn was nowhere near his game character. Brother of the very god of thunder trying to protect the Earth realm, Shao Kahn is very much the opposite of Raiden. While Raiden is compassionate and protective, Shao Kahn is ruthless, brutal, and fond of personal executions. Not too far from the god of thunder and his brother in the MCU. During the battle, Liu Kang brings to the table all the skills he'd been practicing in the past few days. As usual, he refuses to back down even when Shao Kahn turns into a twisted hydra. Kahn gets the upper hand at first, but Liu's tenacity combined with Kahn's ego turn the tables in Liu's favour. The terrible VFX aside, the scene reveals a few major plot points tucked in between some great action like Kahn's mortality reveal, where he goes from being a god to a whiny kid in just a few seconds.
Nothing can alter your destiny, nor mine.
Next, we have the best choreographed scene in Mortal Kombat. As Raiden rightly says, to fight Shang Tsung isn't like fighting just one man, since he can call backup on all the souls he's trapped. In the beginning, Liu Kang couldn't care less about the fate of the Earth realm, as long as he got his revenge on his brother's killer. He has no idea about the fuss about him being the one, and is hardly interested in all the tournament business. But as things progress, his character moves beyond the narrow-minded vengeance plan. In the end, he doesn't kill Shang Tsung as revenge, he does it for the greater good of protecting the Earth realm. Shang Tsung's a pretty decent fighter himself, but it's clear that without the enslaved souls, he isn't a match for Liu's skills. I mean, he gets his lip busted within the first minute. Like Goro, Shang Tsung egotistically believes that no one could ever defeat him, but beyond the smoke and mirrors, Shang Tsung's nothing more than a proud and vain creature. Even the greatest warriors need a little help sometimes, and it's a good thing Liu got a little tip from Kitana for this battle. In terms of hand-to-hand combat skills, Liu and Subzero are almost on par with each other, but when his free skills are thrown into the mix, Liu is taken aback, quite literally. Unlike his younger brother who appears in Annihilation, Bi-Han is a deadly and cold-blooded assassin. As the story goes, Sub-Zero was actually once human. After his soul was resurrected and his humane qualities stripped, he became a ruthless killer. The years of violence and merciless killing turned him into one of the most feared assassins in all realms. Yes, this was the guy Liu Kang had to take down in one of his first Mortal Kombats. Like we mentioned, although he's a pretty decent fighter, there's no way he could have defeated Sub-Zero without a little help. This scene's also a major turning point in the storyline, since it's where Liu finally realizes that Kitana is on their side. Looking a lot like Sub-Zero, next up we have Reptile's attempt at taking down Liu Kang. This was one of the more peculiar points of the movie, where Reptile seemed to be able to disguise himself as a statue, but needed some form of nourishment to turn to his human form. Once he does transform though, he wastes no time kicking Liu to the ground. In the beginning, Liu gets beaten down like never before. Off the screen, this scene actually ended up leaving Liu's actor with 3 broken ribs, where 2 broke when Reptile hurled him into a pillar. But Liu is quick to regain his bearings. This is the first scene where Liu displays his trademark gravity-defying bicycle kick. This is one of the most brutal fights in the movie, where the action is rather gripping. Backed by its legendary soundtrack, the two punch their way through the caves. This scene was added in response to criticisms that the movie didn't have enough fighting scenes. This one fight sure puts that problem to rest. And topping off our list is the showdown between Johnny Cage and Scorpion. Another resurrected skull, Scorpion is one of Shang Tsung's undead warriors. He barges in on Johnny walking in the forest and freaks him out with a metallic snake shooting out from his palm. He then dodges Johnny's well-aimed kick by teleporting them both to his lair in the Netherrealm. Unsurprisingly, his lair is generously decorated with skeletons. From the scenery changes to Johnny's smooth moves, this scene is the most entertaining fight scene in the franchise. The horror and gloom from the shipwrecks are well balanced with Johnny's relentless humor. It's one of the perfect scenes in the movie that creates an excellent action scene with a great sense of deadliness without being overly deadpan serious. Elevating the scene further, Scorpion even rips his mask off, revealing his flaming Ghost Rider from underneath. In the end, his flames bring his own death, exploding him into oblivion. But Johnny is nice enough to leave him with a signed autograph. How sweet of him. And that was the top 10 best fights in the Mortal Kombat movies. From icicle impaling to flaming skulls, these movies had it all. One of the top game-based movies of the century, the Mortal Kombat movies brought a whole new taste for the fans. Which of these scenes was your favourite? Share your thoughts on the fights in the comments below. Like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on the TV Regent.